Is the Ricoh HZ15 from 2013 still a capable point and shoot in 2024? I'll have a look at that in this video. Thanks for tuning in to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. This time I review the 5th digital point and shoot camera that I got in this box of cameras for almost nothing. If you didn't see the previous episode reviewing the GEC140, you can click up here. And I'll also leave links to all the previous episodes in the description below. The Ricoh HZ15 is, without being a modern camera, the newest of the cameras from the box. Produced from 2013 and a few years forward, it has also a bit more punch than the previously reviewed cameras. With respect to, for instance, megapixel count and zoom range, it is better. But the good thing for me is that this camera still contains a CCD sensor, the output of which I normally tend to like more than that from modern CMOS sensors. But is this also the case with this camera? You'll see a lot of images and image examples, so despite the YouTube compression, you'll probably be able to judge for yourself. Now to the facts and functionalities of this camera. Like the other point and shoots from this time, it's based on a small sensor, the size of which is up here. But this time sensor resolution is much higher than any of the other cameras that I have reviewed. The Ricoh delivers 16 megapixel, but only in JPEG. You can't store images in RAW on this camera. Video has been upped compared to most of the other cameras from the box, but it is still only 1280 by 720 in resolution, so no full HD here. But that is much better than 640 by 480 for two reasons. It is obviously a high resolution, and it is now recorded in the normal video aspect ratio of 16 by 9 instead of 4 by 3. Though there is only one frame setting, and that is 30 frames per second. Let's look at the lens. It has a zoom range of 4.3 to 65 millimeters, corresponding to 24 to 360 millimeters in full frame equivalents. There's also a 6x digital zoom, but I wouldn't use it with this size of sensor, and from my image examples you can see why. The widest aperture is 3.3 at the wide end and 5.9 at the telephoto end. There's optical image stabilization, compensating shake to around 3 stops. So for instance, at the telephoto end, 360 millimeter, if you normally should use a shutter time of around 1/500th of a second, you can now shoot at 1/60th of a second without too much risk of visible camera shake in your images. The zoom is pretty fast, and it moves from wide to telephoto in less than 2 seconds, and the autofocus speed is also decent, though not anywhere near what you find on a modern camera. Talking of speed, the camera boots up in around 1.5 seconds. That's pretty fast. There's no viewfinder on this camera, as with most digital compact point and shoot cameras of that time. But the LCD is pretty large at 3 inches, and also has, at least for its time, a decent resolution of 230,000 pixels. Nowadays we would like to see resolutions of at least 1,000,000 pixels, but that wasn't seen as necessary in 2013. There's no mode dial, but you select your shooting mode by pressing the mode button and choosing the desired mode on the LCD. There's a manual mode, an automatic mode, a portrait mode, panoramic mode, as well as a scene mode, where there is a huge selection of different scenes to choose from. And they are like landscape, sports, sunset, snow and many more. The movie mode is also here, but it's not necessary to choose as there is a direct button on top of the camera for shooting video. On the back of the camera you also have a multi-button that on one side can be used to set the flash. You can choose between always off, always on and some more settings including a red eye reduction. On the other side of this multi-button you have a combined macro and self-timer settings. Choose macro on or off. In the off mode you can focus to around 10 centimeters from the lens. And in the macro setting you can go as close as 1 centimeter from the lens and achieve some pretty nice macro shots. The self-timer has the traditional settings like 2 seconds delay, 10 seconds delay, but there's also a smile detection setting in which the camera will expose as soon as it sees a smile. The upper part of the multi-button decides your display settings, where you can have a very clean display without any information, only the image. A display with a huge amount of information, and the same but with a histogram showing how the highlights and the lowlights in the image are distributed. The lower part of the multi-button, a delete button, only works when viewing images that are already shot. But the display button changes between a full view of the image without any shooting information, or a full view with a bit of information, and a smaller image with a lot of shooting information. You can use a zoom rocker on top of the camera to display several images at a time, either 9 or 16 at a time. Exposure compensation can be set by pressing the OK button on the back, and here you can also select the ISO values from 80 to 1600, or you can set the camera in auto ISO mode to choose for you depending on the scene and the available light. Also here you can set long exposure times of up to 30 seconds. The menu button is a bit special, as you at first only see a small sample of what is possible to change, which is image size and white balance. But go down to the last item to open the full menu with quite a bit of things to set. Note that all the settings I have shown here are not available in any mode. The full spectrum is only available when you are in manual mode. Otherwise there are some limitations, as the camera decides for you depending on the shooting mode, but you have chosen. The battery door on the bottom opens to a small battery with a CEPA rated battery life of only 245 shots. That's not a lot, but for a whole day shooting it would be necessary with an extra battery. The nice thing though is that the battery can be charged via USB while in the camera. So for instance in your car or from a power bank you can add some juice on the go. Now let's look at some more images from this camera. So what are my thoughts on this camera after using it for some weeks? Well, compared to the other cameras from the box I bought, this is definitely a very capable camera. It has the best image quality, and it is possible to control this camera to a much higher extent than any of the other cameras from that box. The optical zoom and the image stabilization is far superior than any of the others. Compared to a modern point and shoot, of which aren't many, as most users of these cameras nowadays choose their smartphone instead. But to those cameras that exist, I think that especially as this camera can be had for very little, it is a good choice. That is, if you can find it, because there aren't that many for sale. When I searched eBay recently, there weren't any at all. But I've seen them for as little as 25 euro previously, and I got mine as part of the box of 6 different cameras for a total of 60 euro. I hope you like my review of the Ricoh HZ15, one of the cameras from this box. There's one left to review, and that is the GJ1250, so stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel and also hit the like button so others can find this and other of my videos. So thank you very much for this time, and bye for now.